Hello, good afternoon. How are ya? Episode 19 of the Kids Health series. Hi, Lawrence. How are
Oh,
you?
yeah, I'm doing good, Heidi. Good to
Good.
be back at it, number 19.
19. I'm sure this will be another headline in Hopium because I just love how
We're
you
doing
take
it.
those headlines. Yeah.
We're taking the headlines and bringing them to you in quick order.
There you
Cutting
go.
edge news from Kids Get Healthy.
Super cutting edge news. And I got my cozies on. It's not cold, it's not winter, it's just cozy time. I think that time change, I just cozied it up. There's more soup, there's more warm liquids. But just a shout out to highvibepopisms.com.
Well,
You too,
let's see
you
what
too
that's all
can get
about. What do
some
you got?
swag. Well, this is my Care Bear
Okay,
one,
okay.
but it's the way shower. I got all these different little
Oh, I like it.
different little things, my swags. I spoiled some people last Christmas. They might get things again.
I like it. Tell the audience again where you can get this.
highvibepopisms.com. I'll share it under the link.
highvibepopisms.com. Definitely share that.
Charlie,
Go out here and get you some high vibe swag.
Yes, and it's my daughter who has been doing the merch. She'll put the all the graphics and whatever she does to it on there. And so we're going to add some new stuff for the holidays. So check it out. How's that plug?
I love it. I love it. I want some swag. I will get in and order up some.
Awesome. Well, speaking of plugs, I know we might not be our usual hour because you have got your hands full. Rainbow Chefs. I mean, everything's always been blowing up. It just continues to grow beautifully. But Lawrence has his hands. Has speaking engagements. He's writing. I'm not even going to get into your business profile, but you got a lot going on.
We're writing books. We're doing presentations. We're getting Rainbow Chefs out there to the world. I'm building up Kids Get Healthy. There's a lot going on, and making time for you, Heidi, and doing this. And I love the chance to have this platform to, spread the message of good health.
Awesome.
That's what it's about, helping people.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for doing this with me. It's really fun. I always look forward to it.
Before we go to
we have to
go to the headlines, we gotta, let's do this.
19 down. Let's get one.
Okay. On three.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3. Boom! That was probably the best one that we've ever done.
I'm going to screenshot that.
Headlines and Hopium with Healthy Heidi. There's a whole lot of H.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like that.
Let's take it to the grid, shall we?
Yeah.
And I know
Instagram,
Heidi,
Kids Get Healthy.
Let's do it. Let's pull it up. We'll go to the share screen.
Yep.
This is always fun.
Don't forget, kidsgethealthyUSA is the Instagram.
Yes, indeed. And you should have.
There it comes. Now it's here. Yeah, I wrote some of these, the latest. I know since we talked last 2 weeks ago. I mean, you do something every day, but there was a couple that stuck out. I mean, you guide where you need to guide. I did have a star on the one with YouTube limits. YouTube actually put limits for the kids.
Yeah, well, we're gonna see where that goes, right? I mean, there, let's go to that one real quick. Yeah, so YouTube makes key changes to help support mental health. And again, folks, I'm all for, when companies step up and put these guardrails voluntarily and they do these things. It's all good, but not to be too reliant on any entity, any corporate entity, any government entity. Making sure that you as a parent or guardian or caretaker also are there. When we're talking about supporting mental health, it's not simply just what we're not exposing our children to, but how we're there and showing up really matters. So kind of let's just the bullet points here on what you need to know. YouTube, this is their kind of statement. YouTube aims to create a safe online environment for teens while still allowing them to explore their interests and perspectives. All about finding a balance. And so YouTube is revamping the take a break and bedtime reminders. So again, these are just little things that they're adding in there.
I've seen that one.
Yeah. And so they're revamping that. And so the reminders are now going to pop up a little more frequently. They're going to be more visible.
Gotcha.
So, and it's also regardless of whether, the kid is watching shorts or full length videos. And these are just designed to help users take a break from screen time. We'll see how well they work. And
Yeah.
I haven't done like a deep rabbit hole dive on as far as like any data that's showing one way or the other how well these things kind of work. It
Right.
says you can adjust the reminders in your settings. They're automatically enabled for any viewer that's under the age of 18, and so they pop up every hour by default. Okay.
Nice. Okay.
Guardrails for content, which is kind of important. So YouTube, with the input of its Youth and Families Advisory Committee, has identified content categories that may be problematic for teens who, when viewed repeatedly. So this includes content that idealizes unhealthy standards, specific body types, or social aggression. And the goal is to limit repeated recommendations related to these topics for teens. And the plan is to expand this. So YouTube isn't alone in this. It goes on to say, the article that I'm kind of pulling this from, other social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, which is now X, Tumblr, Pinterest, TikTok. This is there's always a mixed bag when it comes to this. Where we're going into conversations of censorship and age appropriateness and all of these things. I mean, what we do know, just in terms of algorithms, how powerful they are, just mentioning TikTok on here. And you've probably seen this, Heidi, of like, when you look at the differences in the algorithms, which are designed for, the American and North American audiences versus the algorithms that are in place in China.
Uh-huh.
And so where certain content, let's just call it dumbed down content, is going to have a lot more visibility with the North American algorithms, whereas countries like China, and again, not saying that it's a better place to be, but there's different algorithmic settings. It's a very interesting topic. I don't have a perfect answer on that. What I in my own life and what I kind of share with others when it comes to these things is it's kind of like a loop, right? You're in a relationship with the algorithm, meaning, the content that you're going to consume, you're kind of teaching it how to treat you. In
I
a lot of ways,
gotcha.
it's like any other relationship, right?
Yeah.
You're you're
I
teaching
gotcha.
others like your value system.
Yeah.
And so it's this kind of shared responsibility of like, okay, where you can roam where you want, but be careful. It's
Yeah.
this responsibility,
Yeah.
power, control thing. So, but
Yep.
anyway, that was what that was about. And this quote, I think, is kind of spot on. Majority of teens today have only known a life, a digital life with smartphones, social media. And unlike past generations, today's parents and guardians are faced with the mammoth task of educating kids about digital literacy while protecting them from online
Yeah.
dangers. So it's a different landscape,
Oh my gosh, yeah. I
you
feel a
know?
little lucky because my kids' education, nothing's involved with screens and stuff. Everything's pretty, so they don't have that confliction because we know so many kids at their school is online, not just from a lockdown point of view, but their homework, their teacher, everything is accessed online. So they're part of the digital age.
Yeah.
We have we have some old school with us, but I shot down YouTube recently when I noticed them scrolling, and this really insane, this was around Halloween, those trailers were popping up, and those were scary.
Yeah.
Gory, scary in the kids part. And then, of course, we can talk grooming and things, but I just want parents to just be mindful in general of the content you're watching. The algorithms will
Yeah.
play along with what they're searching, but
Yeah.
kids will also get curious.
Yeah.
So
I think that
go there.
there's going to be some big developments in this moving forward, because with AI and all that,
Yeah.
it just goes to, just if you're thinking about a screen, it's an environment that you're interfacing with. And just that alone is kind of mind boggling when you think about it through human
Yeah.
history. What, like, the interface we've had has been, the real world. And you and I
Yeah.
have joked about this, virtual, the virtual world and the meta world. It's like, just go outside. It's like, oh, it's so lifelike. Look at this
Yeah.
park. It looks almost real. Oh, wait, it is real.
Yeah.
Um, like
Yeah.
we're creating virtual worlds to be more like the real world while ignoring the real world that's
Yeah.
just like
Yeah.
it's just outside.
Yeah. And it's
Um,
sold to you that way. It's sold to you as exciting.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Interesting.
I,
Well, I'm
you
glad you
know, I
covered that.
it's incredibly tricky subject, but yeah, that's what's kind of going on. I thought that was interesting to just put out there and
Yeah.
get people to weigh in on that.
Oh, totally.
What else do we have
What's
here,
some of
Heidi?
your hits? Well, you did 2 different posts that were about ultra processed. One about guidelines, but there was like one, and then a couple days later, you're like, "Wait, there's new guidelines now." And I
Well,
was like,
we're waiting on that. Yeah, so urgent
"Okay.
action needed. This is, I think, the first one, right?
Okay. Mhm.
Um, and this is just again, it's the same. How many times I have to study this? They just keep studying these things from different angles, and every which angle you look at it, it doesn't come out great. And this is just sort of like an urgent alert from researchers that were basically sounding the alarm. This was published in British Medical Journal. Time to inform the public about adverse effects of ultra processed foods. Ultra processed foods in cardiometabolic health, public health policies to reduce consumption cannot wait. So, several studies in animal models and humans cited in the paper have suggested harmful effects for some of the roughly 330 additives currently approved for use. And there are associated observations of inflammation, DNA damage, and triggering of gut microbiome dysbiosis. It basically means, the bacteria are out of balance. So, researchers from France, right? So, they were talking about additives approved for use over there. The numbers in the States, I'm thinking, are actually higher, but I can't say that for sure.
Wow.
Uh,
Wow.
but over 70 studies link ultra processed foods to weight gain and diseases, even suggesting that they're as addictive as tobacco. So now we have some other research about the addictive properties, right?
Mhm.
So this was just reinforcing what we've
Yeah,
already
yeah.
been seeing is like the
It's a
studies
lot of
on.
reinforcement. It's a lot of like you're like, "Duh," but you have to understand there's a lot of population out there that this would be new for them. That's,
Yeah, and we get into like what is an ultra processed food, and there
Mhm.
was that study that you and I had talked about on another episode where it was, where scientists were trying to kind of cobble together a quote unquote healthy diet out of ultra processed foods.
Mhm.
And I
Oh,
have
yeah.
a sneaking suspicion that this is very industry driven, because it's like, hey, well, we need to get out in front of this and show people how to make this cobble this diet together. But to me, it's like you needed a team of scientists to scour through, databases and begin to like shoehorn together a quote unquote healthy diet with these foods. It's like, what do you think the average person is going to be up against? Again, there are certain cases to be made where like, yeah, certain things like on a budget, you might end up in a situation where, get some canned beans or bag of this or what. This isn't like the
Zelza.
end.
Those are
This
Zelza
isn't
days.
this isn't the end of the world, but we
Yeah.
there's a spectrum of processing, right? On a
Yes.
very minimal level, just rinsing off lettuce and chopping it up at the factory is quote unquote processed. But what
Gotcha.
we're talking about is ultra processed, where it's really, really stripped of its nutrient value. Quite often, they try to add things back in through fortification, adding synthetic ingredients, pulling away fiber, diluting down protein, mixing in cheap oils, and all of these. This is what we're talking about. We're talking about
Gotcha.
the ultra
Yeah.
processed foods. Now, the other thing I think you were referring to was the guidelines,
Yeah.
right? So
Mhm.
now what we're looking at is dietary guidelines that are actually targeting specifically this issue of ultra processed foods. And so, oddly enough, right, at least a half a dozen other countries have issued dietary guidelines explicitly urging people to cut back on ultra processed foods. Mexico has implemented these. Mexico's dietary guidelines, for example, warn people to avoid ultra processed foods such as processed meats and sausages, chips, crackers, cookies, sweet bread, and boxed cereals. And again, do these warnings work? I think over
Yeah.
time they can, because they can begin to kind of creep in and seep into the consciousness. But this kind of stuff takes time, because what we also know is the addictive qualities, of these
Mhm.
foods. And so ultra processed foods, industrially made with unusual combinations of flavors, additives, and ingredients. So think chicken nuggets, sweetened cereals, mac and cheese, fast foods. And, so Here we go. Critics argue that current guidelines focus too much on nutrients and ignore processing and additives, right? So food companies,
Mm.
they can create these unhealthy processed foods that sound healthy. And we know that, right? When you look at the box
Branding.
covers and the
Yeah.
package and the labels, they try to highlight certain things and they give you this kind of feeling that, hey, it's this
Yeah.
percent of this
They add a
ingredient,
leaf.
and
It's natural.
put a little leaf on there. And so nutrient experts say it's time to consider how food is made, what happens before it reaches your table. The dietary guidelines update every 5 years. The advisory committee is examining if ultra-processed foods influence obesity and health. We know that, right? So there's this little debate. Obviously, industry is trying to push back because it's going to cut into their profits.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like, look, if people are interested in eating healthier options, then you need to, meet the market demand. And as consumers, it's our responsibility. We
Mm-hmm.
have to vote for our dollars.
Mm-hmm.
So every
Mm-hmm.
time we buy a food that doesn't have a TV commercial or a radio ad or a billboard, we're voting for healthy, whole, real food.
Yes.
Yep.
Speak with your dollars.
Yeah. So that's kind of the ultra processed food
Wow.
thing where we're at. We're basically where we're at is the studies are becoming overwhelmingly clear that they're damaging our health.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's starting to be a little bit of pushback on, hey, we need to,
Yeah. The
put
key word
this down.
I get with all that when you're doing it is addiction,
Yeah.
because they really have to highlight the addiction of everything. When was that Super Size Me movie? That was a long time ago. That was
It's been
over
a
10
while
years
now.
ago.
Yeah.
Over 10 years. And that was a big eye opener for a lot of people of just
Yeah.
you could literally see the physical effects and then the addiction of it. And it
Yeah.
needs to be treated like that. Yeah,
Absolutely. It's
it's
this kind of
intense.
weird paradox of, where you can be continually putting on weight. We used to have the bigger problem of starvation in the world, and it still is a problem, right? Food
Yeah.
insecurity, starvation. But we're at the first time in history where there's more obese people than there are starving people.
Wow.
That's never
Oh,
happened before. And it's
unbelievable.
this strange paradox of you can be walking around with excess energy, essentially excess weight, excess energy, yet be malnourished all the
Oh,
same,
yeah.
right?
Oh,
Right? You're not getting
doesn't win.
nutrition,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
So, and that's what drives satiety, that feeling of fullness. Why hunger always wins is because that's our bodies are, driven toward getting a certain amount of amino acids, certain amount of fatty acids, and certain amount of overall nutrients. We have nutrient sensors in our body. And
Mhm.
when this food is just devoid of all that, we want to keep eating because we keep seeking those basic nutrients. So again, quickly highlight essential proteins, essential fats. Hunger always wins. Get those in the body first and watch what'll happen. Appetite will
Yes.
self-regulate. You're not, it's not a natural thing, honestly. I mean, I talk about portion control, but portion control has never been a thing before processed food, because if you find a food selection
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
is that of whole foods, whole unprocessed foods, your appetite tends to just kind of
Yeah.
autocorrect.
Look at their elders for that.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
there's our older generations. They ate their meal.
Yeah.
Protein, carb, everything was on there and they were good.
Because a portion is very arbitrary. It's like,
Yeah.
how do you know if that's going to be enough? But when there's certain kinds of foods on the plate, you can eat until you're full and feel actually confident that, I can just, if I just repeat this process, my weight will normalize. And this just happens again and again.
Mhm.
It isn't that crazy of an idea. Just eat whole, unprocessed,
I
real
know.
food. We know
Yeah.
what that means.
Yeah.
There's technically no scientific definition for the term clean eating, but we know what that means
Yeah,
generally,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's one of those things. So,
Yeah.
what else we got here? We got another concerning fluoride finding. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
look,
Fluoride. Man.
I remember, Heidi, I'm old enough to remember, if you spoke about fluoride,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
spoke a word about fluoride, man, it's tinfoil hat time. But it's now becoming where, the neurotoxicity, the cognitive problems. This was another study that came out. Fluoride exposure in drinking water linked to cognitive deficits in children.
Mhm.
Paper published in Neurotoxicology and Teratology, just fresh, hot off the press. Association between fluoride exposure in drinking water and cognitive the deficits in children. Maybe I've been drinking too much fluoride water. I can't read.
You're busy. I know your head's so
Quotes, these results add to the growing concern about the potential neurotoxic effects of fluoride, especially during early brain development in childhood. These tests affirmed a clear association between high fluoride and cognitive impairments. So it's just another one, another one in the pile. And if we
yeah.
look at fluoride, I mean, it's a very interesting sleight of hand that they did with that. I mean, there's a very interesting history with fluoride, but
Mhm.
they're trying to take fluoride on the surface of the teeth doing one thing, which is also actually debatable, but let's just take them at their word. How that on earth translates into drinking and consuming,
Yeah. Put it in our public water. Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
and of course, we know that there's a message clearly stated on all tubes of toothpaste and products that contain fluoride. Call the Poison Control Center.
Yep.
It's ingested.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Yep.
very much the story of fluoride is a masterclass in the story of propaganda. It is
Yeah.
exactly it, down to the T. And anybody that wants to do any modicum of research on fluoride, that's it. If you
You'll
understand the story
find
of
it.
fluoride, you can actually understand how a lot of the world works with these kind
Yeah.
of things. So now the
Yeah.
jig is starting to be up.
I hope it
So
gets more and more clear because there's still so many beautiful people that just believe that people are out for their betterment of their health and good,
yeah,
but they're not aware of the fact that their bad health is a major business and industry out there. So just stop being so
indeed,
nice, people.
indeed,
Dig.
indeed,
It's
indeed.
realize it's coming. It was not meant
Um,
to help.
and while we're on the subject of
Oh yeah.
neurotoxicity,
Good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
a court reverses the
Mhm.
ban of neurotoxic pesticide. Um,
Yeah. What was that?
Friends of the Earth is an organization that cares about these things. There's others, but it's just a headline from them. Friends of the Earth condemns court reversal of chlorpyrifos. Want to take a swing at that pronunciation?
Chlorpyrifos?
Chlorpyrifos.
Chlorpyrifos?
Chlorpyrifos. I think it's
Chlorpyrifos.
pyrifos.
Okay.
Chlorpyrifos. I don't know. People help. I think we can go to Google for the pronunciation. But anyway, this stuff harms children's developing brains associated with attention deficit disorders, loss of IQ, reduced working memory, and more. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service also found that chlorpyrifos, quote,
Yeah.
threatens the continued existence of more than 1,200 threatened and endangered species.
Dang.
But now with the reversal of this ban, it's going to be back out there.
That's what I mean. So why did they
I
decide to
don't know. Can you
reverse
hear
it?
that? Do
Oh,
you have the
that's the
sound?
can?
Is that the sound?
Yeah.
That's the spray.
That's good.
Yeah, a little bit of ASMR for you kids out there. That like the
But they sit there in
spray.
reverse. They're like, "Nah, we set it to harm. We're gonna put, barriers in place." And now they're like, "No, you can put it in there." Is that what they're
Yeah,
doing? Oh
that's what they're
gosh.
doing. Yeah, that's what they're doing. And
Oh,
again, there's a case where there's certain things I think that get overregulated, but there's certainly a need to understand. You know, you're going to put certain compounds into what's really troubling is that it's food supply. It's stuff that this stuff
yeah.
sticks around and hangs out in the soil. But just another thing that now who knows where this is going to go, if they're going to be challenging it in court or not. But
Mhm. Mhm.
um,
Oh
what else do you
gosh.
see here,
Oh my
Heidi?
god.
We'll, we'll,
Oh,
we'll we'll
I had
knock a
one
couple more
circling.
out.
Well, I
What's
don't know
that?
if you wanna go there. I had this one kinda circled, the motivational interviewing with the
Yeah,
teens,
yeah.
'cause we have that
Let's
going on right now with the middle school and stuff. They're really
yeah.
trying to find new ways to get the teens to open up. Mhm.
Yeah, this made me happy
Oh,
when I
yeah.
came across this article recently published just the end of September. Um, and we've talked about this. We've done an episode on motivational interviewing, but it is something that I really like to employ when I'm working
Sure.
with
Well, you do that
families and
with your
kids. Yeah,
clients.
this is what I use,
Mhm.
and this is a must-read article. It's published on Psychology Today. It's called "How to Talk So Teenagers Will Actually Listen," right? To get them to actually listen to you. And I love this. It's not about manipulation, but about collaboration and respect for the individual's autonomy. Parents can use motivational interviewing to help their children figure out how to make good decisions and find their path without resorting to lecturing. And I actually tagged the author. Her name's Danielle Dick. And it's really fantastic. It gives some of the bullet points, like the highlights of the key principles of motivational interviewing. Just gonna pull this down here. Stop the
Oh,
share.
yeah, yeah.
Go to the two shot. Because this is,
Awesome.
I think this is something good that we can kind of finish out with today. We'll have a little
Yeah.
shorter episode, but
Yeah.
motivational interviewing, it's actually, it takes time to practice these principles, to practice change talk, to actually implement it in real life, because it's counterintuitive to how we're used to interacting, right? We still have habits in that, and so it's a skill. You're not going to always get it right,
Yeah.
but you can never go wrong with listening. That's sort of the key. Asking questions that can, open-ended questions with your child. Really,
Mhm.
really listen. Reflective
Act
listening.
active listening, like, not scrolling on your phone going, "Uh-huh, uh-huh, I'm here," but, like,
Yeah. Active
listening. Yeah.
reiterating, reflective listening, where you're kind of restating what you just heard back to them, and kind of getting that nod that, am I understanding this correctly? Kind of affirming what they're telling you. That can go a long way, because just telling somebody to make a change, we know that just doesn't work. And we come from a good place when we want to do those things, and especially when we have the information. And
Yeah.
people in my line of work, myself included, we have a tendency, we want to just dump all of that great advice into somebody, but without a process of establishing rapport and what is called pacing and leading. Again, meet them where they're at, and then you're able to kind of guide them and help them guide themselves, really. Help create a plan together. What do you think are a few ways that things can get better? What are you struggling with? What are your challenges? How can I help you?
Yeah.
I saw that you were really upset about that. That must have been hard for you. That seems like that must have been really hard for you. Is there something that I could understand to help you out here? Be of
Um,
service in that way. And motivational interviewing is really underutilized.
oh, yeah.
It was something that, with the Change Talk platform that was created, and the American Academy of Pediatrics put that forward. That was supposed to be really something that healthcare professionals, were to implement in a major way. It just simply hasn't happened. And there's a lot of reasons for that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
quick turnaround, 15-minute visits. It's tough. A lot of practitioners, one, they're not really literate in it. That's one. Two, the
Yeah,
ones that
yeah.
are may not be always in a situation where they can implement it in the best way, because in my opinion, a 15-minute, you can only do so much.
I know. I was
So we
gonna
can
say,
do a lot at
imagine if they
home.
did. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We could do a
Yeah.
lot at home using these principles. You don't have to be, a psychiatrist or psychologist to do these things. Anybody can learn them. There's videos on YouTube. Just type in motivational interviewing, type in change talk, and begin to, take some notes and
Yeah.
practice a couple of the techniques. But
Yeah.
listening and active listening is something right out the gate we can all do.
Everybody can do that. And check out our episode Change Talk. That was a really
Yeah.
impactful one. That was a long one. Yeah, I thank you for that big time, because as the teens are navigating teendom, they want to be seen and heard. They just want to be heard. That's when they're like, Don't say anything. Like, don't just you just active listening." They feel heard. It's very
Yeah.
healthy.
It's also a time where, when they are learning things,
Mhm.
and wherever, regardless of where they're learning them from, right? They get excited about it, and it's that time where you feel like you know everything, and it's kind of a cocky time, when you're in your learning, development.
Mhm. Yeah.
So understand that that's just where they're at. They're gonna think what they know is everything there is to know. But one thing that they do know and that they are an expert of is themselves. And we've talked about
Yeah.
that, and that's part of motivational interviewing, is understanding we're all the expert of ourselves, and giving them that platform and say, "Hey, you're the expert of you. I
Yeah.
might know some things, but guess what? There's a lot of things I don't know about you, and there's a lot of things that you just know about the world that I don't even yet." Like give them the credit for, who they are, what experiences they have, that they are unique, that they have something to bring to it. And then that kind of like levels the playing field in terms of, again, it's rapport. It's keeping up where they're at. And
Mhm.
again, it's very counterintuitive for a lot of parents.
Yeah.
It's not easy. This isn't something, I mean, it's
You have to have
not.
patience, and you
Mhm.
have to make the time, or you're gonna may have a hell of a time down the road. You have to make the time. But it's my favorite word of all our entire 19 episode series, empowerment. You're empowering the child. It's just
Yeah.
more empowerment, and that's something you can do.
Yeah.
Yay.
Yeah,
Well,
because
ladies
once
and
you
gentlemen,
know, once you empower them, then it gets whole lot easier,
yeah.
because
That's
they're
it. That's it. You want it to get smoother? Just do those basic things. Like be
yeah,
patient, be still, active listening.
absolutely.
Motivational interviewing. Kids Get
Yeah.
Healthy USA. That's Lawrence's Instagram, full of juicy nuggets every day.
Every
And
day
then,
I'm
of
putting
course,
something out there, yeah.
yep. And of course, kidsgethealthy.com. We got Mr. Kids Get Healthy. You can reach Lawrence at kidsgethealthy.com.
Mhm.
And he's a busy fella. But I do suggest you hit him up if this resonates and you have something you want to check in with him about.
Yeah. And Heidi, let's get that, link again to,
Oh, the
the
swag.
swag.
It's so
Let's
funny
bring
because I
that
put
back
on my
around.
sweatshirt and then I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I haven't really been
I love it. I
hawking
love
this."
it.
We started it last holiday season. Here, I'm writing it in.
Okay, let's do this. I love it.
Highvibepopisms.com. Boom.
High
It's a
vibes it
spring
is.
store. Oh, I have to put it on. And in fact, I'm now motivated because she's turned into such a fine little artist. I want her to add some more stuff. So there you
Pedal to the
go.
metal here. Highvibepopisms.com. Go get you some. What are you waiting
Guess
for?
what you're getting for I have chefs on. I have aprons on there.
Oh, yeah?
Aprons, and then for the pets, their little food mats. High Vibe Snackages is on there. Like we got
Okay.
a lot
Well,
of fun
this
things.
is gonna have it could be an official sponsor. And if you're interested out there, I'm taking something, but nobody's gonna know what it is. But if you're a company that would like to sponsor our show,
Hey, da da da.
I am gonna take some magnesium right on the air today. But I'm not gonna say
Nice.
who it is because you guys haven't sponsored our show yet.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not
But
gonna say this one either, but guess what we got guided to? Remember we were talking about Charlie and her little incident. Um, beef liver pills. She's doing beef liver. She's gonna balance her out a little bit, little
right on.
anemia there. So
Very, very good for anemia,
yeah,
very good for, getting the blood, nice and
I
oxygenated. Yep.
and I'm a week in of L-theanine. I
Mhm.
added that to and I'm finding ADH what? I'm good.
Yeah.
I got all
Uh,
my stuff in the row.
that is an amino acid, L-theanine, which is an amino acid that helps put the brain into an alpha state, which is a very focused, kinda
Focused.
calm,
I felt
zen-like
it.
state.
It was very different with teaching this week. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I'm not as rocked." And I just went there because my daughter used to be on it. Just kinda and then it had so much left. I'm like, "I'm gonna try it." After I looked it up, and I was like, "Okay, cool."
It's
Plus,
great stuff.
I didn't dip. I just kept this momentum.
Yeah,
I
what
don't know.
it'll do with caffeine,
Supplements?
it has an interesting impact if you like to drink coffee. Um, so
It
theanine is
used
found naturally in green tea,
right.
and so that's why people drink green tea, they don't feel as, spun out.
Okay.
Coffee tends to be a little more, wiring,
They spin
but
them.
the
Yeah.
theanine offsets and kinda mitigates that,
Nice.
and you're able to get a very smooth, effect from
Just to
caffeinated
buzz through the
drinks.
day.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you can take it at any time. Some people take it at night to relax their mind, to kind of
Oh,
if you have
okay.
racing thoughts at night that keep you from getting to sleep, theanine is a really nice option, because
Oh,
you can
good
take
to
it at
know.
any time. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, it doesn't keep me going. Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
no, I'm down to I have my little mushroom packet a day, and that's all I've been doing. I used to
I
be a
love
whole
it.
French press. I had rumors going around my community saying I was like did meth and stuff. I'm like, it's called a lot of coffee.
Yes, because when you crank enough coffee, turns out.
So I'm like, if people think I'm an addict, I think I better switch up my coffee routine.
It's really funny. Today, I'll share it with you on my personal Facebook, um, Heidi. I had a memory pop up today where I posted a ton of research on caffeine, oddly enough.
Oh.
So I'll tag
Oh,
you
I'll
on
have to
that.
share that. Okay. Oh, I
Yeah,
gotta have to look at that.
I
Those
drink.
memory bumps are the
They
best.
are the best. I
Oh
drink
my
20 ounces a day, and oddly enough, I've been drinking 20 ounces a day for a while. So research shows for men, 2 to 3 cups a day, which is oddly enough about 20 ounces a day, helps with uh, reducing the risk of prostate cancer. So
Oh, is
another
that
benefit.
coffee or tea
Co-
or
uh,
whatever?
Coffee.
Coffee.
Coffee,
Okay.
but there's other benefits too with tea. I mean, green tea
Yeah, yeah,
has a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
of amazing benefits
Well,
actually, but
plus I have a feeling you don't do like Folgers or anything. Like that'll
no, we
just
want an
tear you
organic,
up.
I get
Good.
the organic coffee. I try
Good.
different types.
Yeah.
Um, the mushroom coffee out there on the
Yeah.
market with the lion's mane.
Yeah.
Lion's mane mushroom is really great for the brain. It's really nice to have in with your coffee
Mhm.
and your theanine.
Yep.
And yeah, so
And for those who do like the coffee taste in the afternoon, I've been doing because I'm working on my liver before a big cleanse. Dandelion root because it's brewed, it's got that earthy coffee taste. So I
mhm,
feel like that's my afternoon dark, warm liquid thing,
yeah,
and it helps you just squish out that liver a little bit. Oh, look at
yeah.
that little PSA on the end.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I will,
Awesome.
I'll share those, I'll share you on Facebook with that.
Okay, cool. All
But,
right.
this
Yeah.
was fun.
Now, this is a quickie. You get back. I know he has all these plates twirling, everybody. So, Lawrence, thank you again for making time for this. And hope everybody's doing well. Please hit us up, what your thoughts are. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe and share buttons. Yeah, we look forward to seeing y'all in 2 weeks.
Little steps, big health.
Oh, I love little steps, big help. Cheers, everybody.